Hi everyone. So I was actually thinking about things I could do on this channel that would be unique or at least semi-useful to players in the community. Some of these are going to be useful to people who've been playing for a little bit and just don't understand some of the mechanics, but most of these are going to be designed towards helping out newer players. Being that I'm near kind of the middle part of the population of the gamers, in terms of skill and knowledge and everything else, it kind of works out for me to kind of cater towards the newer members. But that said, I want to actually start off this series of mechanics talks by talking about accuracy versus resistance, because right now the knowledge is out there, but most people aren't aware of it for some reason. I see a lot of people running for 100% accuracy when going into dragons, and that's that's not useful. We know that's not useful. You could be saving a lot of your time by going and doing something else instead, or ruining a different way instead. So I want to talk about referencing two different articles that I was able to bring up. Unfortunately, there's so many people that contributed to this I guess wealth of information that was generated that it's hard to tell who was the originator. But both of these are Reddit articles that were generated, or at least written, by Indie Gamer Monkey and Tokoro, both of which were about 8 and 9 months ago. As of this recording, it's still, though, the most accurate understanding we have of resistance versus accuracy. So the first thing that you should know is that the way that any skill or any status effect activates is in regards to a formula that's essentially a two-stage formula. The first part of the stage is an activation check, and that basically states that is there going to be... No, sorry, I'm missing something here. So is the first part of the activation stage is basically just checking to see that a skill is being activated. There's nothing you can do about that. That's something that's very basic, and that it's the percentage that you see for any skill to activate when it's going to happen. If we actually take a moment here and actually check and look at what my copper skills are, I can show you what I mean. So when you take a look at something like this, with spending Smash, there's a 50% chance for him to actually decrease the armor from the enemy he's hitting. And in that specific situation, that would be the activation stage. Accuracy does not actually change that percentage. There's only two things that really change that percentage. One is that you glancing hit, and in which case, if you glancing hit, that activation stage is shut down right then and there. The other thing that increases it in this, or at least the thing that increases it, is skill increases. And when you actually see that it says increases activation chance by 10%, for instance, that's an additive, not a multiplicative bonus, which means that it adds on to that. So if we're looking at a situation like this, where it's a 50% chance, and a 10% skill increase would make it 60%. Whereas something like healing, a 50% heal would become then a 55% heal, where it's 10% of the 50%. So once the activation stage has been passed, you can then actually have accuracy determine whether or not it will hit. And the way that you determine whether or not accuracy will be enough to put the debuff on the monster is by taking the following formula. You have, let's see, let me take a look at it here. It's hard to just say off the top of my head. So it is resistance percentage minus accuracy percentage, or 15% chance to be resisted. Whichever of those is higher. So in other words, if you have 100% resistance and you have 85% accuracy, so the monster you're trying to hit has 100% resistance, and you're trying to hit them at 85% accuracy, that means you have the same exact chances as if both of you just had 0. Or if they had 30 resistance and you only had 15 accuracy. Again, that is the same as having nothing, neither of you having none at all. So what does this mean for purposes of how you should rune? Well, when it comes to PvP, there are still going to be people, especially in real-time arena, who are trying to rune for resistance. And in the case where they're trying to rune for resistance, you need to be hitting an 85% wherever you have a monster who is specifically a support monster who needs to apply debuffs or strip or do things like that. And the reason that you really want to care about this percentage, or when you want to rune for accuracy, is for PvE, player versus environment. And this is going to be things like TOA, TOA hard, raids, any of Karos dungeon. It's important that you understand what the numbers and how these mechanics work I'm not worried about it, whatever. You know what I mean. The thing that matters here is knowing that the testing has been done to prove that as far as any of the elemental dungeons, any of giants, TOA hard, there is a max resistance or a max accuracy. In other words, the maximum effect you'll get from accuracy is at 45%. It's actually, looking at the numbers, I'm sorry, I take that back. 15% for all the elemental dungeons, 49% for giants. I'm seeing here that it says 60%, but I know that's not... Oh, you know what? I'm reading these numbers wrong. I apologize. So what it inevitably comes down to, last I read through, is 55% for dragons and necro. It is... Oh, where do we have it here? TOA... Yeah, here we go. So, Dragons B10, 55%. TOA is 45%. GB10, 45%. Any of Necro B10. So, Necro is 45%. Raid is 15%. So, those are going to be what you want to have in order to have optimal accuracy. Anything over that is not going to do you any good. Anything under that, you are going to have some where it's resisted more than 15% of the time. Now, people are going to say, well, I see it, it feels like it happens more than 15% of the time when I have really high accuracy and I'm in giants, for instance. It's possible that you may be getting unlucky. That's certainly anecdotal evidence. These people that I'm looking at the information for have run this. I think they mentioned that they'd run it 1,000 times and went off of that kind of a sample size, which is more than sufficient for kind of determining where the resistance and accuracy should be. Now, I'm actually going to put the links to both of the articles down below in the description. I suggest that you actually take a look and read them for yourselves. It would certainly be worth understanding the mechanics a little bit more than maybe I'm describing them. But the important thing to note is that for you newer players who are trying to get ruined for giants and dragons and TOA, 45% is about the most you'll need unless you're going to dragons, in which case you go for 55%. Beyond that, try to rune for other things. And this may mean that accuracy on a 6-slot rune is not actually worth it for you. So I'm going to put those descriptions in the article, those pages in the description down below for you to check out. I just wanted to do this as kind of a quick way of describing how accuracy is working as far as our understanding of it goes in the game so far. So this is going to be kind of a new series that I'm going to try to do once a week, where I try to explain some sort of mechanic. And like I said, I want to start off with accuracy this week. I think next week I'm actually going to talk about the +6 rule, why it works, what's the reason for doing it, beyond just people out suck. Because that's certainly true, but there's other reasons why people do that. So take a look down below and check those pages out, and then feel free to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you would like to see covered, and I'd be happy to take a look into it for you and try to make a video about it. Alright guys, well thank you very much for stopping by, and shortly a little bit later tomorrow I'll be putting up the new Strata vlog, and I think as you can see by who I'm farming with right now, you know who I chose for my 6-star. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.